Hey guys, how's it going? Octopus here and welcome back to Unicross and a new stained glass medal that just hit JP, which should be hitting global version this week. I'm going to talk about this medal, how it compares to the previous stained glass medals, which is obviously better, but how it compares to the Foretellers. And also, if you have Kyrie X and Shiani X, do you really need these medals? I'm going to go through everything, how he is, how good he is, and if he's worth 30,000 jewels, because he is a 10 mercy pull in JP, but it's part of their anniversary. Just a heads up, guys. So let's jump into it and let's look at this beautiful medal. First off, you guys can see that he has a multiplier of pretty much 32.50 when you compare that to the other stained glass medals. So I'm going to put this on AoE and we're going to go look at the other stained glass medals that are in the game. So previous ones, let's look at Riku actually, because he is an upright power. So stained glass number 3 here, which is Riku, he has a multiplier of 32.50 as a 7-star. So does the new Terra, which is stained glass number 7 EX plus. So he does have a multiplier of 32.50. The difference here is that Terra increases your guilt by 110%, and compared to Era here, who is 120, that's only a 10% difference. 10% difference is a lot of power. But like I was saying, more medals are going to come out that are like the Foretellers and not like the Foretellers. They're going to have a higher guilt percentage anyways, and they're probably going to be part of your decks. The whole point of these medals is that Kyrie X and Shiani X are your main buffers, but these are buffers / attackers. So take that consideration. Everything that these medals have, your Kyrie X and Shiani X already has. So if you have those medals, in my personal opinion, I don't think you need these medals at all. It is just increased damage. It will make some quests easier, but it doesn't mean this is the only way to pass those quests. Like you need a stained glass number 7 or you need a Foreteller in the beginning of your Keyblade setup. It's not true. I've been passing it without these Foretellers and I'm going to continue passing without the Foretellers. So we'll see what kind of direction the game goes into. This might become the norm as we go. A new buffer could be around the corner, but let's talk about the stained glass specifically. So the first thing you guys want to take note at is that it's 2 turns and it's overwrite. So it overwrites your power, general, upright, reverse, all that for defense down as well. And it's just absolutely incredible for that. 2 turns of upright and reverse, strength up and defense down, plus all the general. It's just really, really good. Overwrite means that if you have like -7 on you, he'll erase that and he'll put +7 strength. That's just like a basic way of looking at it. There's a little bit more to it I want to talk about later. But overwrite is basically whatever he applies, doesn't matter what you have on you, it'll get overwritten. It will put that on top instead. It does not affect, like let's say you have +7 magic strength up. You'll keep that +7 magic strength up. It only replaces what it applies, so you don't have to worry too much about that. Again, the 2-turn thing is very unique because in PvP you can have for 2 turns where nobody can touch this unless they erase it with like Young Xehanorts or the VIP medal of the Incredibles, medals that remove status effects. So like Bell can remove that too as well. But besides those, if no one puts those specific medals in there, there is no medal that lowers the enemy's upright or reverse strength up or buffs their defense. There is no medal that buffs the reverse or upright defense up either. So Terra for 2 turns is going to terrorize the enemy's defense, and he's going to raise your buff of ×7 for 2 turns. So you don't have to worry about that on the next Keyblade or on the Keyblade you're on. These 2 can't be touched except for medals that erase it. And on top of it, in PvP, multi-turn debuffers work out really good unless people specifically bring in Violet, if they bring in Demix, stuff like that. They have to have those specific buffers. If not, if they're going for pure damage and no kind of like, let's raise my defense, turtle stance, let's lower the enemy's attack, if they don't do that, he basically lowers the enemy's defense for 2 turns untouched. He raises his attack untouched. You can't stop that. Kyrie EX and Shiani X can stop your attribute strength though, so that ×7 attribute strength won't carry over. That's one thing you guys gotta look at. But that 110% guilt will carry over for 2 turns as well. So you got that general strength carrying over. Kyrie and Shion doesn't touch that as well. The only thing they're gonna touch is that strength for attributes and they're going to lower the enemy's defense, but he has nothing turtling. So this is going to be a great PvP medal. Multiple turns, lowering the enemy's defense, raising your attribute and reverse strength all in one medal. Not only that, in PvE wise, this medal resets the enemy's countdown. I'm going to talk about that more later. That's really, really good. And he restores 10 gauges. So he's got so much going for him when it comes to that. PvP wise, great medal. PvE wise, great medal. There's no downfall to this medal except that he has to be in the early slots to do the most damage. He's got 32.50, which you look at Era over here, he's got 34.15. It is a 2 multiplier difference. That does make a difference, but it's not that far apart. So Foretellers were just the beginning. Like I said, more and more medals are going to come with more strength, more utility, less utility, or just overall better on everything. And Terra is an example of that, or Stained Glass medal is an example of that. It has everything you need besides the other attributes. So over here to the right, like you guys can see, hopefully you can see. Let me check my OBS. Yeah, you guys can see what I'm looking at. Over here, he does general strength up, general defense down, power up, power down, upright, reverse up, and down. The only thing he's missing is the other attributes. Now, you can ignore this part because like I said, that's part of turtling. That's what makes Kairi and Xion better, is because they can lower the enemy's attack. That's really, really important and is clutch in a lot of situations. But the only thing you're missing between these two when it comes to buffs and debuffs is the magic and the speed. And when you look at prime medals, so let me take this away, go prime Roxas for the next slot right here. If we put prime Roxas over here and we go all the way back to turn 2, you can see we have all the buffs we need for prime Roxas. Take away prime Roxas, no magic. Prime Roxas takes care of his magic. So most attacking medals now in the game, especially prime medals, which are the ones you guys should be going for because they're best of their tier, give you the upright strength you need and upright defense down you need. If you guys are new to the game, buffing and debuffing is the part of the first part of your Keyblade. You want to get all the buffs and debuffs in there, and these are what these medals do. So even though that Terra doesn't do all attributes, strength up and defense down, your other medals take care of that. And from that point forward, you can also do that for reverse, power, or you can use copycat medals to continue that trend. It all depends on what you have, and you got to look at that as well, because if you don't have any prime medals and you just been doing PvP like my main account and you've been popping out like Hercules and Genies and stuff like that that don't have the other defense down, like it lowers power strength down or power defense down by 7, then you have a little bit of an issue. Or sorry, magic. If you put a Genie over here, he's not going to do your defense down for magic. He doesn't have that. So you're going to run to that issue if you don't have prime medals to fix that. But the thing between this Era and everything, Era, the Foreteller, which is pretty straightforward, a stronger version of the Stained Glass medal. The key thing here, guys, is that that one medal does everything. It does reverse and upright, which means you don't need a different copy of Kairi and Xion. You can just use that Stained Glass medal and you're good to go. So I actually really like these Stained Glass medals. When I say Stained Glass medals, in the notice that Robloid translated, it said this is one of 3 Stained Glass medals to come or more. So this is only the first one. There's going to be a speed one and there's going to be a magic one. So speed, magic, and then after that, there's going to be reverse one. So if these are the new set, they're going to do 1 of each and then 1 of each for reverse. And then they're going to be replaced in like 2 or 3 weeks. But I wouldn't say that's a bad thing. Is this the future? Is this the future of our buffers? Is our next buffer going to have reverse and upright all in one? Because Kairi does upright, Xion does reverse, but the Stained Glass does both. It's interesting, and it's all 7s. It's not like ×4 like the previous Stained Glass medals, who only have a certain amount of buffs and debuffs, and general defense is only 4. He's got guilt, he's got everything. And let's talk about the little nitty-gritty about it too. He also resets the enemy's countdown. Resets the enemy's countdown. So if an enemy has a counter of whatever, +2, +10, +20, whatever it has, let's say you brought all the way down to 1 and then you activate Terra, it goes back to its original counter. So if it starts with a 20, you bring it down to 1, activate Terra, after Terra, it's back to 20. And I'm pretty sure Terra doesn't affect it, or it might have changed it to 20 and then he does his 6 hits. So if it's blue, it'll go to 14. But I don't think it does that. It also feels 10 gauges. So you restore 10 SP with this medal. The only downside to Terra is he's the first medal. So you have to go through your whole Keyblade slot, Keyblade setup to reset it. Because he's going to be in the beginning. You want him to be in the beginning of the Fairy Stars or any Keyblade setup. You want him to be in the first 3 slots. Preferably the first 2 for maximum damage. So that's the only thing. With Prime Metals, that's not a big deal. You can get away with that. Resetting the counter when your turn comes around is pretty good. Especially if you copy Friend Metal, Foretellers, or Prime Metals. You're okay. But that's the only downfall, is that he has the beginning of the Keyblade slot for 32.50. When you compare him to the other Foretellers, the Foretellers can go wherever they want. Right here, this one, next metal gets a power change, which is unique. It's kind of cool. But like I said, there's no condition for that 34.15 except for HP. But they don't restore HP. So if you don't have a Kairi or Shion, this metal drops down to 25, where the Foreteller metals have a weakness compared to the stained glass. They have 32.50 as long as they're in the beginning. HP at low, HP at high, it doesn't matter. They'll have the max damage as long as they're in slot 1, 2, or 3. It does change a little bit as you move down slots, not all the way down to 29. But even 29 AoE is pretty good. So that's pretty much the stained glass metal. In the end, I would choose this metal over the Foreteller metals. One, because of the very unique reset enemies countdown. The only other metal in the game that does that currently is Sora and Kairi. There has been no other metal besides Sora and Kairi that resets the enemies countdown. So very, very good on a very heavy attacking metal, along with all the buffs and debuffs in the game except for attribute, and being one of the top 3 AoE damage metals in the game. 32 to 34 to 36. It is pretty much up there. Even if you don't put on a proper Keyblade slot, that's still 29 AoE damage, which is more than enough for all the content currently. But again, if you have Kairi, Kairi has everything you need anyways. But if you don't have Kairi or Shion and you want an attacking metal, it can work out with the right prime metals. It all depends what you guys want to do. It's not a yes or no answer. It's strong, AoE wise, great buffs and debuffs. The only thing you're missing is that HP recovery that really makes a big deal, and they're stuck in the beginning of the Keyblade, but that's where you want your buffing metal. The thing is, they just take care of themselves with all the buffs and the debuffs. Compared to the previous stained glass metals, it was kind of iffy. With Kairi EX and not the plus version, it made sense, and right now the same thing's happening. So are they going back into a cycle where these are going to be replaced very soon as well? I don't know. The last stained glass metals got replaced very quickly, but with double buff and debuff for those, it makes it interesting. So it's one of those things, guys. Let me know what you think. I'm personally 30,000 jewels for one metal is not my thing, so I'm gonna skip out like usual. But if you guys do have 30,000 jewels and you want to go for it, if you guys get lucky, it is a good metal. It's a good metal, but is it needed? That's the question you got to ask. Are you struggling in your game? Do you need more power? That is a way to get more power compared to just a buffer, but it only works on certain Keyblade setups. You have to have the right metals with it. Either way, if you do get it or you don't get it, the game will carry on. New metals will come out. So just do what you guys want to do near the end. Do you really like that stained glass Terra metal? Then go for it if you have the jewels. Don't go for lucky pulls. A lot of you guys get lucky. And when I say a lot, I mean 20 out of 10,000 or 100,000 players. So when you see someone, hey, I got it in 2 pulls, 3 pulls, you might pull all 10 times. Just remember that. If you guys want to add anything down below, if I missed anything, because I went through a lot of things, I didn't really go in the order I want to. I want to talk about what the metal does, but I was like, oh, see this part? This is important. So I kind of went off track on my own mindset. But if I did miss anything, let me know down below. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to hit the like button. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Keep on smiling, and I'll see you in the next one.